I already have my rating.
And we're live, and I'm
Hello.
small. What's up, my dudes? Hang on, just momentarily. Already, we're going into a great start as things have already started going a bit pear-shaped. There we
That's
go.
fun.
And that's also a problem which will address now. Choose them. There we go. Okay, hi guys. Sorry about all the technical difficulties. As you see, another little combat that we're doing today, but hopefully that is all of that sorted now. No more issues. Welcome to Sentai Wrap Up, and this time we've got a lot to go through with an episode that has basically two different features within it. Now, I know you haven't quite got round to it, Mark, have you, where you've only been able to see the release of it and not with all the subs. So don't worry, we'll all go through it together and hopefully we can, you know, just get the gist of it and you won't have to worry about it. So let's get
It's okay.
started. So we've already got
I
one
can't.
person in chat. Richard, how you doing? But
And
yeah.
he says you're small, but you're
Yep.
big now. You're
I'm
big.
big. I've grown up. Okay.
You
But
have
yeah,
some magic
so
beans.
yes. So this time we're going to be talking about StaCeaser's new mech as well as the stuff featured in episode 12. Now, the mech, we've got to start off with that because I was hoping this would be an actual like Zord like everyone else, but it doesn't seem to be the case. But then again, at the same time, we have yet to see in episode 12 whether or not there's more to it. So, starting off with the generals, what did you think of the new mech that StaCaeser has?
It's not bad. It's generally, it's not. You don't really see what it can do. I feel like it got very overshadowed to the
Yeah,
point where you get two Kaiser's Zord, and I generally was just like, oh, why? Why? Like, if he came in next week or Stacy had his order later on, and you saw them get absolutely trashed, I'd be like, yes. But it's more like, oh, Stacy has a sword, bye, and you're like, oh. So
yeah,
I,
it
I
doesn't.
was okay with it. It looked okay.
Yeah, I think it was alright. The actual name of it is Battle Caesar Robo.
Mm.
It does suggest though that it has different abilities and stuff because of the way that he's in the cockpit. We'll show that in a bit, but just the way he's in the cockpit and stuff, it just looks like there is some form of attributes to him. But that just might be effects, so we're gonna have to wait and see about that. But yeah, in this particular episode though, where we see the the new mech, which is called the Battle Caesar Robo,
Mm.
we also have the first debut of Tukayo. Now, I was really excited about this. What did you think of its first appearance?
Not too bad. Like I feel like it should have had its like it fought on its own, as in like the two Kaiser doesn't come along. So it's mainly focused on him.
Yeah,
I feel like they tried to really put a lot of in it, but it looked okay. I much prefer the look of the second one
yeah,
than I
yeah,
do
yeah,
with this one because it
yeah.
looks a bit better.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I see what you mean. I do like the transformation and stuff though. That was quite a laugh. I like the
Mm.
gimmick of it because, I mean, it was the first time it happened, so I guess they wasn't expecting it. But yeah, it
Mm.
was just one of those things where it's got a little bit of humor to it. I mean, considering like they're like super deformed as as the world is known that their appearance comes from. I suppose it does kind of have that little anime sort of, you know, alteration to it that
Mm.
makes it comical. So yeah. Oh, Richard said Stasis Zord has got it going on. Yeah, yeah, it is a good looking thing. Let's actually go through that, just like the images of that we've seen in the episode. So we go to the debut screen.
Yep.
So here we have it when it was in. Oh, good jeez, even I'm small in this part too. So as we've seen it from the actual show, first we see it just generally visible a lot better in the area that they were constructing it in its
Mm.
little hangar. Now, what did you actually think of its build and when you first introduced when they first introduced it?
Again, it's so overshadowed by everything that's going on. I feel like it looks really cool. I like the look. I hope they release this as a toy. I really hope they do,
Yeah,
because I would like to actually add something like this to my collection. But I generally kind of think it looks awesome, but I wish it had its own episode. Like it was more,
yeah,
you've got Snail World. Snail World gets destroyed really quickly, and
exactly.
then
Yeah,
suddenly this pops up and it takes out like both of them quite quickly. But then that's when maybe Two Kaiser Zord comes in or something. I feel like this needed something like a big debut rather than, oh, we'll just kind of push it in because it's there. I feel it needs more.
yeah, I agree. I agree. I think it's because StaCaeser's mech was not really supposed to be a main feature. It was just supposed to be a step up. Like I
Mm,
think Battle Caesar Robo is going to be more of like a little extra, a little level up for all combats involving giants in the future. I think
mm.
that's what they're trying to get at. But yeah, I agree though. They could have done more. I could have done more. Oh, Richard just put through with a name like Caesar, I would have expected a Dragon Zord. Yeah, I hope it has a mode like
Yeah.
that. That would be really good, wouldn't it?
It doesn't have
That
a
would be
it
cool.
doesn't have a tail though.
No, no, it doesn't. No.
No.
Oh, hang on. Images are mixed up again. Great, my luck.
Don't worry about it.
Right, let's
Yeah.
see. There we go. So the actual weapons, basic sort of like puck-like shield with what can only to be described as a rapier. Um, I don't like the weapons.
Don't you?
Honestly, don't. I think that could have been better. I love the appearance. That has loads of possibilities for me, even if it doesn't transform.
Mm,
But I don't like the weapons. I feel like they should have gone more with firearms more than anything because of the way the whole sort of like villains are represented,
mm.
because they are machines. So I was thinking that sort of thing. Even a chainsaw would be more fitting, but then again, they've already done that in Kira Major, so maybe they're worried that will be going back to what they've done before. What do you think,
Yeah.
Ellen?
I mean, to be fair, like a rapier sword is something that I would kind of I would look at and stuff like that. So I feel like it could be what it is. I feel like he should have had a bigger shield because that to me doesn't
Yeah,
look. It looks like basically just ripped something off his leg, and he's like, "Oh, I'm going to use this instead."
yeah,
But I can imagine because the rapier, when you look at like bad guys and stuff, they always use it, so it would be something like super quick or something like that. And I feel
yeah.
like if he's designed to be quick, then this is the best kind of weapon for you.
That is true. That is true. But I do think that they're trying to replicate it in such a way that it's like the opposite of Yuran, because
Mm,
even his shield, because of the way it goes in combination with him, is quite small. I think they're trying to keep the same sort of like balance, the same scaling of weapons with
mm,
the form. They're trying to keep silhouettes quite similar to emphasize a balance. So I think that's
mm.
probably what they're trying to do. But yeah, I really hope there's more to this thing, but I severely doubt it. But because there's so many things they could have done for them. That's what I think is ridiculous.
Mm.
Um,
I think you could have literally had this as like a Stacy episode where he's come back,
yeah,
he's fighting them, and then it leads into the point where it's just like I've got this mech, I've got this Zord that can literally destroy you, rather
yeah.
than kind of like so it could have been a Stacy
It
angled
could have been,
episode,
yeah. But
but
instead, Two
I get
Kaiser stole the show.
yeah,
Once
like he
again.
always does.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, we've got messages coming through. No Sentai coming soon in 2022 in June. Well, yeah, it's a bit later than I expected. Zenkaiger should show all Sentai Rangers come on. Why only Red Rangers? Yeah, we've talked about that previously. I think it's a bit unfair that they have representation of only Red coming back, but I think that's just because it's easier to do it that way, really, in the grand scheme of things.
Uh,
Oh,
it,
Zenkaiger is low, not good show of Robot is bad. Oh, come on, that's not fair. Like, I love my
I,
mechs, so for me, this is great.
mm,
I love this. Sorry, yeah,
yeah. I was going to say, like with only Reds, that's the majority of what it's always been.
yeah,
The fact is now what you have 45 years. You have majority of Rangers that are either teams of 3, 5, or 5s, or occasionally you've got like a ton of like maybe 20 in one team. So I feel like
Yeah.
if you wouldn't be able to, it would be a cluster. You wouldn't be able to have like every single suit on there, and red is the majority of the show. So everyone loves a Red Ranger, and that's the one thing they'll focus on. So I don't think that they're gonna like change and say, "Oh, have all the blues," because then you just have Ron and the Blue Rangers. I think you would like that more.
Yeah, I like that. I like
Or
the blue. I
imagining
like
all
the
the
blue.
pinks. I would love imagining all the pinks. I'd be fine with.
That would be funny.
But yeah,
Yeah. But I think the idea is that reds are good for representation without actors. If they did
mm,
have returning actors, they probably would do various colors.
yeah,
But with that in mind, obviously, just doing all reds is the best way to represent all teams without there being any fan backlash in a way.
yeah,
Oh, Richard put in, now they can do more seasons with blue.
yeah.
We'll have
It's
to wait and
all the
see for
colors.
that. Yeah, I don't think Japan will ever defer from that because
No.
red is supposed to represent Japan in general. Like, if you look back at the oldest of Super Sentais, it's obviously clear with Battle Japan, um, from Battle Fever. It's clear that the reason why they're red is because that is the color that represents Japan the most.
Mm,
Therefore, leader of the team.
yeah.
That it's all about they all have, like, there is thought into the creation. It's not just, oh, I just happen to make it red. No, there is things they do think about, and there is a lot of detail put into it. Obviously, some of the things they think of don't really make the final cut, but yeah, that's just the
Well,
case.
With what you're looking at, because it also means Google says color red in Japanese culture denotes strength, passion, self-sacrifice, and blood. It is the color that gets the blood flowing. Red bean rice is served as asparagus occasions. Wow,
Oh,
but yeah, it means quite a lot in Japan. Like the color red, that's the reason why
yeah,
you'll
it
always have
does.
a red.
It's culturally significant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, now let's get to the big part of this, which has all the fun parts, which is episode 12. Now, for those who have not seen it, this is generally carried through with the beginning with Juran and Majin thinking that Tsukaiser and his whole family really aren't something that Zenkaiger should really, like, relate themselves with.
Yeah.
Not only do they hate the fact that they stole the technology, but they just don't like how they seem to be grabbing all the popularity. Hence, when the kids came along and wanted
It
to
was
get Two Kaiser's information and learn more about him, and ask for an autograph for him, Jerome was like, "Nah, but I'll give you an autograph." And they're like, "No, no, no, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine."
it's like hell no. Why would you want red when we can have gold?
Yeah, but obviously the episode then continues from that. I think this is kind of like an episode that focuses on trying to um, give Tukai's a redeemable feature to Majin and Juran. Obviously
Mm,
not doing it too well because they still not exactly a fan of him, but they do enough to cause a little bit of thought about him. But yeah, generally it's all about a conflict between Snail World and trying
mm.
to defeat him, causing slow barriers, and then obviously we have um, Barashitara trying to instigate this particular plan, while
Mm,
StaCeaser is trying to include himself into it and overdo Bashitara. But
yeah.
obviously, this ends up being the perfect chance for Kaiser and his two brothers, that are Katana and Ricky, to
Mm,
take it up a level and completely, nail down the fight. But
mm.
yeah, it is a good episode. I do like it. There's a lot of character developing it. From what you've seen, Ellen, what did you think of it?
Well, I mean, I've seen the entire episode. I've only kind of looked at the like the subs. I looked at the most important parts because I'm not a big fan of this episode. I feel like again, like you've got more. It's more emphasis on two Kaiser than you've got anyone else, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But it's more again, I can see the character building. Like, let's get Majin and Jiren to be like, oh hey, like we like this guy. He's good. Like I can see that building. But I feel like I don't know what's missing. I feel like at this point in time, we don't have a focus. We don't have something that is, how do I say, like there's not, it's not giving us anything solid, and we're in like on the 12th episode already. Normally in Super Sentai we have the storyline, so it's like, oh, Kaito wants his parents. That's not been brought up in a solid minute. Um,
Yeah.
so I feel like it's either trying to find its footing, but it's slipping.
Yeah. I do agree with that. But yeah, it's I don't know. There's certain parts of the episode that are redeemable, but I think most of it is just the story itself. Because obviously, if you're not watching it with the subs, then you're not going to know what's going on.
Mm.
But the action's all there though.
Yeah.
You get decent fights. I like how StaCaeser's planning, even though he's going really slow, like
Mm.
as he expected it. Yeah, there's some really good moments in this particular episode. But yeah, let's move on to the actual debuts in that are specific to this one. So obviously we got that before. So first we'll take a look at Snail World.
Yeah.
So his design, I quite liked how they've kept the snail in the design, but at the same time they've given it that mechanical appearance that works
Mm.
well with all of these particular villains. What did you think of Snail World?
His design's nice. Like you could tell, like it was obviously a snail, so obviously it's going to use the power of slow. Because I wasn't quite sure if he was coming from Slow World or Snail World at the time, but the design looks fine. I'm just waiting for a picture to pop up so I can
Yeah.
see him. Um, like yeah, like it's mecha. I like the fact that the missiles are um like the missiles are going to be the attack thing. I like that.
Yeah.
When I watched it over again, he attacks to Kaiser. I was like, he should have knocked him out the barrier, but then I was like, actually no, he's not, because obviously it extends quite far now. He's like on the barrier. So the design of Snail World is nice. I like the fact that he looks mecha. His mouth looks kind of cool as well. Like
Yeah.
if you took off the top part with the missiles, again you could have it like a kind of a unique monster. Like you could reuse the costume again. I think
Very
the
true.
color scheme works quite well on number two.
Yeah. I think my favorite part about him though is generally his ability, because so far we've only had ones that affect people directly. This one sort of does an area effect, so it matters whereabouts he positions himself, and I quite like that. Most of the time it was like either spewing out something or targeting people, but this one was literally just anything in this area. Boom.
Mm.
I like that.
Yeah, they all have really cool abilities. Like if you took all the abilities up to now, you'd make an unstoppable monster. Like there's
Yeah.
nothing. You have slowing down time. You have like door abilities. They're all really good abilities. And I'm just generally kind of like going, why don't you just use them in one monster that could defeat them straight away?
Yeah, it's a good point. But I suppose it's the idea of control, because obviously, I think they're a little, with the higher ups, like the king and whatnot, they're really worried probably about things uprising against them. That they're very selective. They're very calculating, which goes well with the robot aesthetic.
Mm.
So that probably is the reason why. But I suppose in the next episode we'll find out a bit more in regards to that, because it does look like we've got some of them returning. Okay.
Mm.
Someone just put in messages. Go on, Joe has 7 Rangers. Oh, yep. Sorry, this is from Field Mask Food. Great period. I should probably mention that.
Yeah,
Gold Ranger's sister go to be a Green Ranger Zenkaiger, if she might. Um,
I wouldn't say that she's going to go as a
I
green
don't.
or
Yeah, I don't know if
um
she'll become anything really. I think she's more like Sek-chan meets um
hotness.
Yeah, it's yeah, it's kind of, yeah, it's pretty much the way it sort of goes. Like she's not the basis of knowledge, but she has it. I do like how Zek Chan's in this one though.
Yeah.
Like yeah, I'm glad, and I'm also glad they're using Yak Chan as well, because I thought the grandma wasn't really being used, but we'll get into that.
Mm.
We'll get into that. Yeah. Obviously, the only thing I didn't like about this is when we had the Snail World appear, there was just like, what is that?
Yeah.
Like I like some of these worlds that they come up with, but some of them are just off. Like
Mm.
they try to be too specific. That's what I don't like about it. And then they just literally shower everything in this one idea rather than you know, an informative idea. That's what gets
Mm.
me. Like I would have expected like forests or something, or at least some kind of residue. I don't know, something clashing, but all of these round things appearing, I don't think that's not. I don't think that's a Snail World esque to me. What do you think, Mike?
I mean, when you look at it, it just looks like the Dreamcast logo constantly everywhere.
Yeah,
Um, I think like it's meant if they turned around, like you can see it on like like on the bottom thing where it says like the power of the snails is overflowing out of their shells. Like when they turn to it, you see that like they do look like snail shells, or the rest of the time they look like where you've got like Play-Doh or blue tack, and you've just mainly rolled it into a circle because you made a worm. Um, I also kind of think that the reason why they've done this is just saving time. Be like
yeah,
render out 30,000 snail shells. Can you imagine getting that task? Going, okay, guys, so for this monster we've got snails. I need someone to model 3D render and put in some snail shells. It's gonna be 30,000. I'll
yeah.
take that role.
Yeah, I think they could have took the easy way out. I think empty shells
Mm,
would have been made actually a good idea. I do like that one.
yeah.
Okay, so apart from StaCeaser, oh, there was his cockpit. I forgot to show that.
That's fine.
So
We can go
yeah,
to it. We can bounce about.
we'll bounce back quickly. So yeah, I like the visuals in this. As I said before, it does suggest like he's got some sort of abilities in it, but I don't know if that's just deco.
Mm.
So we're just gonna have to wait and see regarding that. But I'm sure Il Giroud has probably done more to this thing than they're actually suggesting. So yeah, what do you
Yeah.
think?
Um, if it's the cockpit, it reminds me of Abaranger. So
Yeah,
like that sort of thing. I don't like again. Like I really wish we had a proper episode of this rather than him coming in. So it looks like kind of like he could have access, or it could just be different colors. So he could be like, oh, let's touch this, move it over here. Let's touch
right.
that, move it over there. Um, I feel like you don't really see much. Neither they were still working on it, and were like, right, we need something to put out there. But
Yeah,
generally, kind of like I don't know.
yeah.
I'm just
I agree. They could have easily had, where they had two of those robots, like the giant ones that form into the robotic worlds that we see the mechs fight. I think they could have just done that again and
mm,
had more than one, which presented more of a danger, especially with Snellworld's ability rendering the weapons useless, as we've seen
yeah,
in this. So yeah, I think that would have been enough. I don't think they should have added um, StaCaeser's mech until they wanted to actually show him off properly. I think this was a bit too hasty.
yeah.
Yeah,
I I feel like it like I don't know. Like you could have it the fact that he could have been like the big bad, and then he teleports out because he's got too damaged. I don't
yeah,
feel like you'd go through 3 episodes, 2 episodes, building up this mech to have it destroyed in one go. I see it as like a Cyclopsis type of thing from like Power Rangers, where you could have had a few episodes. He batters the Rangers and destroys them. I
yeah,
just kind of, I don't know. I just kind of feel like it was such of a waste. Like that, Stacy needs his own episode. That's it to really go into it because he's going to pummel it. And that's when like Two Kaiser could have said, "Oh, we've just updated the stuff for the next one after he's seen the Zenkaigers be trashed completely."
yeah.
I feel like this is just a waste of a waste of a mech.
Yeah, they did cheat
Mm.
Stacy in this one, I believe. Okay, let's get on to Two Kaiser, or should we say, sorry, not two, yeah, Two Kaio. That's what I mean.
Yeah,
So, best transformation sequence ever. Obviously, those who have probably seen it online have seen the toy, so they know generally how that kind of works. Um, but I love the transformation for this. It's both like awesome to see. It's different
mm.
and I honestly think it's hilarious. So obviously we got the one at the back who becomes the arm, the one in the front in the mouth basically goes in. It's like it was like a really funny animated sort of like
Mm.
swallow effect. I loved that. But then yeah, I'm showing the images as we go along. So yeah, and then obviously he appears in the middle. The things flip over as that happens, and then obviously we got our Two Kaiser in the middle. stop you at any time, Airlim. Any part of that you want to talk about so far? I'll just go back to that previous image where he's just his head.
Yeah, no, I'm just having a look because I can see the image now.
Yeah,
I just feel like they're way too big, like puppy wise. Like like if he was, I think if they were a tad bit smaller when they when they combine, it's fine. It just or the thing was bigger, so they could
yeah,
still see it. They could still have the thing up. It just looks a bit off. Like I love the fact that it transforms. I like the way that it's more samurai based, where it's moving, it's going to attack and stuff like that. I just feel like it's a bit, and I also feel like the inside should be red rather than white and like metal, like silver and gold. Not unless they're
yeah.
kind of foreshadowing, and that's what it is. I don't know. Like I like the way it looks. I can't wait to get
Yeah.
the toys. Um, but I like,
It looks good. It
yeah,
does look good. They did show they did show the toy. I love how it combines, and it combines in the same way.
mm,
Does it obviously without that animation esque
yeah,
item ability, but yeah, I do think it's really good. But yeah, actually we got to talk about the actual cockpit itself. So it's generally the same as um Zenkaiser when he goes in, but
yeah.
obviously the difference is it has a giant wheel like suddenly appear
Mm.
during the combination sequence. What did you think of that?
It looks okay. It generally like I like the spinning things. It generally that's how I would kind of see it. But I think I would have more of like a more piratey design. I feel like they could have still kept the reds and the blue because I think that's the main thing is blue and red. But I feel like it's a bit of a cop out just to reuse the same like
Yeah,
deco and stuff for Zenkaiger. And again, I don't know if they were on a budget or they didn't want to design it, but I feel like when you see like look at like Gokaiger, everyone had like the steering wheel, but then you had with Guy, you had two or three that you had to control. And I would have
yeah,
liked to have seen something designed a little bit better. Like even if you had like a wheel where you had to move it rather than, I know that they're going to move on their own, but I feel like you have something there like you could spin it because you've got the wheel. So I'd imagine
yeah,
a wheel cockpit where it'd be like I'm now going to do my finisher all the way across, spin it, and then punch it or something like that to kind of
yeah.
activate. Um, but
One thing I actually noticed, I don't know if you've clocked onto it too, but the deco behind him doesn't make sense.
yeah, that's
Like,
what I was doing.
sorry, is that what you
Yeah,
was getting
that,
at?
that it should have been red and blue because of Ricky and Katana. That's because again you've got like some red format in the back, but again that's the main two colors. So again, this
Oh
isn't.
yeah, yeah.
It just looks
Oh yeah,
ensuring.
yeah, yeah. No, I get what you're saying. But like you do have those colors in like right at the back as little detailed
Mm,
lights. However, when you look at Zenkaio and how that's merged and where Two Kaiser actually is,
mm,
you look at Tukayo and the way the crocodile is and the way it's split,
yeah.
he's facing that way.
Mm. Okay.
Not this way, that way. That's just what that seems like for me because of the deco behind him.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
So the way the split works for the color scheme, it doesn't make sense for him.
Mm,
I think they should have done something completely different for two Kaio for both your reason and the reason I've just given
mm.
because it is I can see why it takes too long to sometimes do this kind of thing, and I don't know if production was just having a problem with that. Unless he's in some kind of bubble, this doesn't make sense. They could have made it even they could have even kept it to where he was before, and it would have been fine.
Yeah, I would
But
have
yeah,
gone with that. Yeah,
yeah,
I have
yeah,
it on the bridge because again, then you have everything. Because what is like his weapon, like on the bridge, is basically you have it so he can spin it round. With this one, like I don't know. Let me load up the
sorry, I gotta
episode.
flick through your images because I need to make sure I know where I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
But in like I don't know how he does the finisher. It would make more sense to keep it on the bridge
Yeah,
rather than that. Like I'm hoping he goes like, oh yeah, I didn't like the update, so we updated it even more, and now I'm on the bridge,
yeah.
which I don't think
No.
it's gonna be a thing.
Okay. The actual formation though. I think Tukayo Katana looks really, really awesome. I love it.
Yeah,
Like, and the way that combines, you got the gun that comes off Ricky, it goes on the back.
Mm.
Visually, it all comes together. It all makes sense. When you're doing the toy, it's like exactly with the toy, but there's a sequence to it all, and I love it. Even the sword going on to top of Ricky and then forming the arm, it all has its place. And I know you're saying about how the size kind of seems a bit off for like Ricky and stuff as they combine on, but considering the size of their heads, it works.
Yeah, I think it's not the Megazord that it's the size. It's the size. It's mainly the 3D model that is way too big. Like Ricky's way too big for it. Like he needs to be a little bit smaller, or the ship needs to be bigger to incorporate them. The design on the Megazord is fine. Like I really do like it.
Yeah,
it works
really
well.
Good.
It it reminds me of the Lupin X type Megazord where you've had one where it turns into the for Pata Ranger, and then obviously one for Lupin Ranger. So I like the fact that he can change it. I like the way that he's got the sword arm, because that's like, again, it's very samurai when he's moving. That's what I really like, because they've taken it to the point used to the second one. It's going to be very interesting how they do that one, I think.
Yeah. The whole sort of aesthetic and the whole appearance is just like perfect. Would we say though that this particular Megazord, or shall we say, Mecha, is better than Tukayo?
Don't know. It depends on how you look at it. If you're looking at aesthetically pleasing, I would probably say the others, because it's a nice combination. With this one, if you're talking about power and attacks and what it can do, you've only seen it in one episode. So you'd have to see how the other one works, then look at, like, let's say 5 episodes down the line, let's see how it works.
Yeah.
Then go, because remember, you've got one person controlling it, while the others have 2 people, well, 3 technically, but you have like 2 entities and a pilot. So I think like it's going to have to be like at least episode 20 before you go, okay, which is stronger? But kind of, I just like the designs. I like more of the Zenkaigers than the others so far. But like my favorite one is the Orin one, so I kind of really want to see that.
Yeah, that should appear in the next episode. So I'm really looking forward to that. Okay, so I think that is all of the debuts for this particular episode. So let's just go straight on to the specials. And I've disappeared, of course. Oh god. Right, where am I? There I am. And I'm half my size. Okay, you can see a sliver of me. So the first one we see today, while I just sort this out, we see the first special, which is represented of Turbo Ranger. Now, obviously, I can't really take a good picture of them because of the way that their powers are used. It's to speed them up, and in a slow-mo, it was very smart, but you didn't actually see what it would be like for their powers to be represented. So, what did you think of Turbo Ranger being represented in this particular episode?
I don't know. Like, I feel it was the best way of doing it, any sort of speed. But again, you just saw that jumped in and be like, oh, I can move really quickly. I'm not slow enough. Like, I think when we've seen stuff like in the past where look at Go Ranger or Go Ranger, where they instantly kind of like they speed up and you kind of see the lines when they move the arm. I would have liked to have seen that one, but I'm guessing for time and stuff like that, that was the better option. It also now means that we know that the gears work on humans. So obviously, you've got Zenkaigers and you've got Tukaiser, but now you know that if you wanted an army of whoever, you can then just use the gear and go, boom, you're now helping me.
I think that kind of sorry if I'm running off what you're saying a little too abruptly, but it kind of runs off the whole StaCeaser when he was constantly using gears. So do you think that's because the devices work similar to each other?
I think they work exactly fine. I feel like they can access because you see later on, like when they use it again, you see it's just the Blue Ranger. So you see a whole set of 5 and a blue. So I think representation for it, regardless of if that series doesn't have a six ranger. I reckon that you'll see another one. So say let's take Jacko. No, is it
Yeah.
Jacko? Yeah, say Jacko. They only have 5 people in that team. So then you'd have someone like say, okay, well then there's going to be 2 big ones, and then the rest of the team. And I feel like that's going to be like a normal thing, I reckon. But I like the way that they did it because it made me go, oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, I do think it's interesting though how obviously they randomly select a ranger for StaCaeser. But what I
Mm,
find fascinating is that they had both the coins. So that means that StaCaeser has duplicates. Like
yeah.
it's not a case of oh only a select few were made by uh the professors
Mm,
of Kaito's parents, and some of the others were made by Flint for StaCaeser. No, it's a case of oh they've seen the powers, they've both decided what they're going to base it off these teams, and this is the
mm,
powers that they get, and there's going to be duplicates of all of them, so both teams can use them. I
yeah.
think that's really interesting.
It's a good one. I think it would have been even more interesting is if two Kaiser use Go Andra. Because
Yeah,
you have the six ranger team, and that would be that way you could have said right there are 2 teams in this, but obviously they're kind of they're waiting, which is okay, but I don't know. Like it's cool that they've both got the same powers. There's no major difference between the 2 keys or 2 gears.
yeah,
It's just maybe Flint's now made every single one and gone, well, your powers work differently than we've got different ones as well.
yeah.
So because I know like any of the Zenkaigers won't use the 6 ranger ones, or they probably won't have access. So they'll only have like the main team itself.
Yeah, but we do see that two guys does get quite fast during this. Um,
Mm,
but yeah, I do think they should have. I personally think that they shouldn't give to Kaiser any gears that doesn't have a sixth ranger because of the
mm,
way that they're trying to represent him. Hence, when he used the gear for Shurikenja, it gave it. Sorry. Hence, when he used the gear for Hurricaneja, he got Shurikenja.
mm.
So yeah, I do think that was the only thing that was a bit weird about it. But other than
Yeah.
that, I suppose any design thing they come up with, they're gonna go with. So, but yeah,
I think
yeah, sorry, go
Yeah,
on.
I was gonna say, I think the reason why is because if, say, for example, you go, oh, we'll use Turbo Ranger, and then they go, oh, we'll use a different gear. It's like, but does that mean the same gear has the same power?
Yeah,
One is speed, one isn't. Because you could have, like, say, I don't know, for the sake of it, you'll have, like, say, 2 guys that use the Goanja gear, and you'll have probably the hybrid, of silver and gold combined, which I'm guessing that'll go down, which then could give them the power of flight to use like an almighty attack, while the
mm,
others would just have like say, I bet they have like the armband thing that goes round it, so they
mm,
can use it for speed. So I reckon that they'll use that would
that'd
be a
be good.
main
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. We also see the gears a lot more better for that Flint modified for the combination, which is
Mm.
katanas and flints. So I do like how those were sort of shown and given and seen the gears next to the people that they're connected to was really really cool.
Mm.
Did you like that particular scene?
Is it generic? I think when I was watching the scene, he doesn't say what does this do.
Yeah.
It'd be something more like, because I see Flint being quite cheeky with it. So two Kaiser could be like, "What do they do?" And she's like, "You'll find out." And he
Hmm.
goes, "Just flip the coin, flip it round," and he does it and goes, "Oh, that's what it does." She's like, "Oh, you're gonna think this is gonna be fun. What the hell does this do?" Like, I'm
Yeah,
not gonna put
yeah,
this into the thing. Um, and any chance to see Flint being cheeky is a good thing. But
yeah. Right, now I think I'm going a little bit too far over for this. Oops, I just realized I'm switching the images accidentally again. So we'll go on to the favorite moments, just glitz through a couple of them and a couple of the scenes, because obviously you haven't watched all the story elements, so it would be a
I've
little bit more difficult.
kind
But
of figured it all out. It's not that
yeah,
hard on this one, and all the
that's
more
true.
important parts I've watched the subtitles for to kind of get an understanding. It's just when they're like, "We're stuck in slow motion, Scoob."
But yeah, personally, oh God, I've gone small again, haven't I? There we go. I need to undo that one. Go back to big. Thank you. It's usually this happens to you, so this is quite a nice change of events in a way. Okay, so I love the blood pressure, oil pressure that they had, particularly in this episode. That was a great moment. Did you pick up on that?
Yeah, like it's
Yeah.
little things that I started looking in the background, and I was just like, oh, that's really cool. That's a good thing. I
Yeah.
just feel like I don't know what they're trying to add, like if it's meant to be a bit of comedy type thing, and the bad guys don't have it. But I think it's just just like let's put a little bit, sprinkle a tiny bit of jokes in it.
Yeah. Yeah, here we have obviously with the kids asking about StaCaeser, and trying to get the autograph. Now, this particular scene here, when Duran and Majin sort of imagined how the other three would react about StaCaeser
Yeah,
if they said they didn't like him, I thought
yeah,
that was quite hilarious. Obviously, you had Kaito saying about, oh, I feel sorry for them. Their brothers were warped. I like it's not their fault. They're just trying to do their best to get their brothers back to normal. Then you got Gowon, who's basically going, but they're human. We love humans. We don't
yeah.
like you, Duran, but we like humans. And then obviously you got the last one, which is Rune, and he's like, "Well, it's incredible. They've made this technology. They've copied this. They've copied that. I want to know how their technology
Yeah.
works." I just think it just shows how Majin and Duran differ from the other three so much,
Mm,
because they see the negatives of it, whereas the other three they're seeing
the
like
positive.
they're seeing the positive. Yeah, they're trying to, in their own way, they can relate to StaCaeser and his family. There's something that connects them to them. Duran and Majin, I don't think have that yet, but I
Mm,
think that's kind of something that occurs in this episode when Duran gets to see that StaCaeser plans things. He doesn't just do things randomly.
yeah.
Like when he was dancing in slow mo, which happened to be him tagging the air for when the possibility of Snell World coming back to attack.
Mm.
It was showing that kind of forward thinking.
Yeah, I'd like that sort of thought. It's like, he's thinking ahead. Like, it'd
Yeah.
be the first thing you do is like, I'm the only one who has this ability, so I'm saving people. The only thing I didn't like in this, and I think it's like, obviously with Jiren
Oh,
and Majin, it's
yeah.
absolutely fine. You can't see their mouths move. But then with StaCaeser, you could see his mouth move. So I think what would have been better is to keep him morphed, because then it's more type thing. Because obviously he's going like, oh, you guys do this. I would expect him to be kind of moving his mouth normally. So I'd have
Yeah.
had him morphed still. So there's no way of getting out of it. Or maybe they need to give him screen time. So like, oh, we'll demorph him, and then he has to turn around and
Yeah.
give us a performance.
I do like. Right, I'm gonna like glitz through these favorite moments because some of these are just ones
Mm,
I've picked. Um, the other thing I did like was seeing the effect normal to
yeah,
bad, because obviously it's hard to do in a slow motion thing. And then actually StaCaeser slowing down as he's dropping. That was really cool. Did you catch on to these effects, and did you think they
yes.
were actually quite a good? I mean, did you think there was any part of them that seemed like they could have been better, or if they done something wrong, or what did you think about them?
The split screen was good because it was a very good way of saying this is what it is. So obviously they filmed it, they've redone it, and they've put it into After Effects, which is quite good. It's showing you there's a line there. With
Mhm.
StaCaeser jumping in from the bottom, I think that maybe when he shot them, he was like, right, slow down. But it looked like to the point where if you look at the picture now, it looks like if he got blown away outwards, he'd be out of the barrier.
Yeah,
So I kind of saw that. Like, I'd rather him come in to the point where he's slowing down from the top, so he drops down and then gets blown back, rather than, oh, I've come in from the back and now there's nothing there type thing. But it wasn't bad. Like the effects, nicely put. Like even when you saw the birds, like them stopping and stuff, but everyone's still moving, but at the very slow pace. So they would have got out there. Um,
yeah.
yeah. So what did you think of the effects?
Oh yeah, I honestly think that there was no flaw in them. There
Mm,
was not a single point where I thought, "Oh, this is definitely a green screen moment." I think that this is probably the best effects they've done so far.
mm,
In terms of like general fighting, because obviously when they do stuff like the transformations and all the stuff that's reoccurring, it's always looking top quality. But there have been moments that we've caught, haven't there, Ellen, where the effects have not been that great, like with the swinging in of
Yeah.
Zox as he's catching Flint. So yeah, there have been some bad moments, but this one's probably one of the best ones.
Mm.
But yeah, I do think that it's doing better. And going back to what we've said previously about effects, now remember in the last episode when I complained about the generic look of, Tukayo in its like vehicle film,
Yeah.
like Crocodile, I believe it's called. Now this image proves how good it can look if they done it the way that they originally initially started to do it,
Mm.
because they had all these lights and decos going throughout it, but they didn't have that when Katana and Ricky were riding them. Um, do you think this looks better than the original concept they had
I have to wait
once it
for the
comes up?
picture. Yeah. I have to wait for the picture.
Right, it should come up any moment now. I do apologize.
That's all right. Don't worry. It's like, okay, catch up, YouTube stream. YouTube stream, catch up.
There we
It
go.
does. See, it looks bigger. It looks like where he's about to jump out, it looks giant. But when
Yeah.
you look at, like, say, how thingy is, I feel like it's not.
Yeah,
I
it
feel
does
like it.
seem smaller than it is, yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to see the size, because if you look at that, that looks huge. So then when you look at, say, like Ricky or Cortana, then they'd be massive. But I think it's just scaling of size. Now that does look cool. It looks like you could have an entire, like a starship. So you could have an entire crew of like 150 people working on it and doing stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
it does look like that. It looks like Astro Megaship sort of size,
mm,
doesn't it?
yeah, which is kind of cool. Just, if they're going to keep it, it looks awesome. But I feel like it needs more work. I don't know, but I like it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Obviously, we had some interior moments with it, with Flint saying stop.
Mm,
But my favorite part of this sort of beginning, sort of like part of this episode, was just seeing that Yak-chan is being used and showing remorse and feeling sorry for just interacting with characters on a human level. She's saying to the two brothers about, I'm getting used to the two brothers. I'm sorry about what's happened to you, sort of thing. Like I may not know what it's like, but I can understand that it may be quite difficult for you. And I do like how that's been touched upon, and
mm,
it's coming from a character that's not an opposition to any of the two Kaisers like group. What do you
yeah.
think of this moment?
I mean, again, I don't really see it as like moments. I just see it as, obviously she's saying something like, "Oh, I'm sorry." Like anyone would say that. If you came back looking like that, no one's going to say, "Oh, well, you brought it upon yourself, didn't you?" You're going to say, "Oh, like, I'm really sorry hearing about this." And she's not saying, "If you want to talk, I'll be here." It's more, "Oh, I'm guessing you guys are little brothers. I'm really sorry this has happened to you. Now eat your crepes." So again, like, I'm not picking up on for me personally on emotion. Maybe I'm not connected to these like characters. Maybe it's because I'm not finding, like, I'm liking some of the episodes, but I'm not liking the recent episodes. I'm finding it more kind of, so finding it harder to connect on an emotional level. And we've got something like, what, another 32 episodes possibly to go. So I'm
Yeah,
hoping
something
it
like that.
change.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if she got shot and disappeared, I'd feel really bad. I'd be like, I've built a connection with her, but I haven't with Ricky and the others. So apart from
Oh,
Flint, um,
sorry, I think the favorite moment just disappeared.
yeah, is it the one where he shouted?
uh,
Ah, that Flint.
Let me fix that. Properties. There we go. It's returned.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Moving on to the next part then. So now this part here doesn't make any sense to me. If he had a loudspeaker, why is he using the puny ass microphone first?
I'm guessing it's for comedic value.
It is. It is. But I just thought it was so funny. I honestly did.
Mm,
Just this particular moment. I'm glad that obviously they add some extra effects, and I just think it's great how sometimes in Super Sentai villains treat their opposition constantly underestimating their opponents and constantly saying, "Ah, no, that would do, that'd be fine." It's like that old, just the old gimmick, like if anyone knows Austin Powers at all, that's a good
Yeah.
like point of that, where the villain's always like, "Oh no, they'll be fine, they'll definitely die," and then the good guy gets away, and yet they keep doing the same sort of thing.
Mm.
This points this out perfectly. It's like a mistake fixed.
Yeah. I feel I like it as well, like the far away distance.
Yeah,
I think this is like I'm gonna go. This is a joke Sentai rather than like a serious one that we get.
yeah,
So I'm more okay with what they're doing, and it's more like, hey, like let's say like an Austin Powers moment where they're just screaming and stuff. Where it could be like like it look Men in Black as well when you've got the noisy cricket, where it's like a very small gun but it has a huge amount of power.
yeah,
This is the
yeah.
same sort of thing. Small thing is a giant one, but
You
the
know what?
bigger
Yeah,
Mhm.
sorry. No, go on, continue.
say, but then he's got like the giant megaphone, which wouldn't probably give that much power. So same thing as like a bigger gun doesn't mean anything. So
Yeah,
yeah, kind of thought it was an interesting thing for what it is.
yeah. I also think it's funny how Barashitara has to try and keep out of the snowfield. Just
Yeah,
that's why he's at such a distance. Um,
yeah,
I just like the one thing I just realized is that when they probably originally planned Zenkaiger, they might have not actually planned to make it a humorous Sentai like Car Ranger and stuff. I think because of the limits of scenery and using green screens and having what they have, I think it just ended up being that way. Because if you can't make something detailed and awesome, then you can at least try to make something um, like humorous and work with what you've got to an effect. It's better to
mm,
do something with what you've got than trying to do something else when you're so limited. So,
yeah,
I think they're working with what they've got, and if the only option is to go funny, it's better to have nothing at all. I think that's what they're trying to get at. Would you agree with that at all, Alan?
yeah. I'm just seeing now if it's still filming, because I haven't seen anything done it. But I understand, like, this is the very, very pre-early days, so they are limited to what they can. And like, if they're still filming at the moment, as far as I can't see, um, you could find out like it'll get more serious later on that they can do stuff that restrictions are lowered. So I'm more than happy with what is coming out. I just feel maybe it's because of the restrictions, things are not working that well, and that's
Yeah.
what's kind of like breaking it down at the moment. Um, yeah, like it's I think it's still going. Um, I feel like it could do more, but again, I'm still not
Yeah.
blaming them for where they are.
Yeah. I get
I
you.
just want it to be better. I
Yeah,
really
I know
do
what you
want it to
mean.
be better.
It is 45th anniversary, but hopefully things will pick up because obviously this is still during the days when they had to be restricted with filming. So maybe
Yeah,
as we get into it deeper, things will get better. Um,
I mean
Here's a
that's what I'm
great shot though of using the abilities of Zox that he pre-made before Snail World returned. Now we did go through over this, so what did you think of the actual effects that Zox has for his special attack?
it's not too bad. I'm glad that there is a limit to where it is compared to where it was. So where normally if you've got an impenetrable shield or it
Yeah,
reflects, if it kept hitting the same thing, I can understand. But it looks like it's a one-shot pony. So as soon as it hits it, that's gone. So that's why he's made so many to kind of back them all up. It
yeah,
works well. I'm glad it is in the shape of a pirate wheel because if it wasn't, what the hell are they doing? I have no idea. It's not that great, but I'm happy it is. Um, yeah, I like what they're doing. Like it's great effect. I think that's his limit of his powers though, which I think is a bit shame. I would like to see more of it. Like say for example, if they give him I don't know, they give him like a Jew Ranger gear that he gains the ability of like the costume changes like it does with the Shinken and O Ranger form. What I think would have been good is if they gave him the red gears
Oh
as
yeah,
it they kind of separate it. Like we've put, because obviously the pirate wheel's red, the morpher's half red. So
Yeah.
if he puts the red gears in, then he can use the Six Ranger of that one, and I think that would be a good way to kind of like put it out,
Yeah.
as well as give you a load of money and be like, hey, guess what? You want to spend all your money on this?
Yeah, you're right. I do think that would have been a missed opportunity, and it is a shame that only that they had Zenkai Red in that format and have those gears just for those two small little episodes. So, but it did suggest that it might make a return, so we're just gonna have to wait and see.
I
Um,
hope I hope he does, but like again, I even if like said like if it was linked in with the film, I think that
yeah,
giving Zox and Two Kaiser the red gear would have
yeah,
been better.
yeah.
So you can say, hey,
Yeah, I agree with that completely. Now, the broken weapons, I think this was quite awesome to see because it's not every day you get to see this sort of thing occur. But I'm wondering if both, well, at least the sword in regards and maybe the claw, I'm sort of wondering if this was like props gone broken anyway, so we could break him a
yeah,
little more and put it into the story. Do you agree with this?
yeah, it's like no one cares right now. So here you go, have that. And I'm like, do you know what? That's fine. Like I like that sort of thing. I think that to me is
Yeah,
nice. But it also shows it's like how Rangers, like we love the Rangers always win. We love seeing them when they get trashed and then
yeah,
they're like, what to do? So seeing it's like, oh my god, my sword, oh my god, my claws don't work. Like I could see if they had Majin in room and Majin's staff gets broken and she's like,
yeah,
oh my god, and then goes absolutely mental on it. But I
yeah,
like the fact that they're now introducing the element of, hey, your weapons aren't invulnerable; they can be destroyed. Just be careful with it. So
yeah.
I'm more than like 100% okay like with that. I think that's a a really good thing. So I am more than okay with that.
Yeah, yeah, it is great. I always like to see broken weapons and stuff sometimes because it just it sometimes adds to the story and adds to the essence more because it
Mm,
builds up other things afterwards. So having new Zords and stuff like that make a little bit more sense if something happens to break for the original formation.
mm.
It's a great way to do stuff like this for mechs. But yeah, final image that we're gonna have. This I think was my favorite sort of scene featuring Tukayo because this had such an samurai-esque, just the way he has his blade pointed, the rain coming down. This was like a really thought out moment in this. Do you agree with that, Ellen?
Yeah, I think as I said before, like I really like the way that he, pardon me, like he walks. It's sword. It's more. I'm gonna move with you. We've seen it when he transforms. We've seen it when he does this, and he moves
Yes.
back and forward. You'll see with more there you have that the O Ranger form will be different, but with this one it's more as soon as the rain hit, as soon as it started like cackling it down, I was like, I don't cackling. What the hell's that word? Um, it reminded me a lot of the Shogun, like the samurai type movies. The last
Yes.
one, even in anime, where it's like, if I strike you at the right speed, I will take you down. And I really liked it. I generally was like, oh, but I was wondering, is it all around the area that the game went, or just in front of the camera? Because I would not want to get those costumes wet; they would
No,
peel in the
no.
rain.
Yeah.
But I liked it. I liked what they were doing. I think that's what kind of gives it. See, this is what the debut is. If this was against Stacy Zord, this is what I would have loved to have seen.
Yes,
Um,
I agree. It would have been so much better and made so much more sense to have StaCeaser's, mecha
mm.
in this battle for this particular moment.
Yeah,
So wasted moment, wasted,
it's
wasted.
a waste. It's a wasted thing. But yeah, no, that's what I kind of liked. So that's what I was more on board for at all points.
Mm,
I just missed opportunities. It's missed opportunities completely.
mm,
That's all it is, really.
yeah. Okay. So let's move on to the episode rating. So obviously we do it as gears. So how many gears do you rate this episode, Ellen?
Two,
Two.
two. Yeah. Only because I like it. I really do. but I feel like the story is stale at the moment. It's more, I understand with Kaito, I really do. I understand that,
Yeah.
but I feel like there could be more at the moment. And I don't want to go into the next episode where it's exactly the same. I don't see any progression with Kaito. I don't see. I could see it maybe with Majin and Jurin a little bit because they're character
Yeah.
building, but and Zox comes in. But I'm just not a big. I'm just not a big fan of it. Let's just say that.
Yeah. You know what? I'm actually going to agree with you
Ooh.
because I was originally thinking 4 and maybe dropping to 3.
Mm,
However, the way they're trying to rush the story, the way and trying to rush debuts that they could have easily done on other episodes, I think was a bit of a mistake. Having such great story and including debuts along with that story is vitally important for an
mm,
episode. So to try and introduce too much while also having different people highlighted a little too like spread, because it was supposed to be like Imagine and Duran episode in a way that ties into StaCaeser, but it all ended up being about StaCaeser.
mm,
I don't think that's what they should have done. I think they should have maybe had StaCaeser with the battle, have it focus on Duran and Majin, have maybe an maybe like Tukayo saving Duran and Majin in their formation as Zenkaiger. That would have
mm.
made sense. Then have StaCeaser in another episode with his mech, with his story. Boom, that would have been perfect. But because they've done it this way, I do agree. Two gears, two gears.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
I
it's
think.
just it's too good and yet done badly.
Yeah, I feel like it's. I think it's very hard to kind of. What are you going to do in this sort of situation? You've already got the precedent of what's going to happen. You have Kaito wanting his parents, but it feels like that's now an afterthought. You've
Yes.
obviously got two Kaiser knows exactly. You know what his storyline is, and he's the sort of character. But I feel like they need to either dial him completely back, not have him disappear, but either dial him back because you're taking the story away, and I feel
Yes.
like that's not what you want. You want to have a decent like balance, and it's all let's focus on two Kaiser. I know obviously the toys are coming out, but you could have easily have said like had the toys come out not next month, but a few weeks later after it premieres. But
Yeah.
at the moment, it's the two Kaiser. It's not Zenkaiger, and I want more from it, but
Yes.
I don't know what I want from it.
Exactly, yeah, I completely agree with that.
Mm.
Hopefully that will change in the episodes to come, as we've already just discussed. Uh, Obviously, we have no idea how subbing's going to work. Oh, you're going a bit weird.
Have I? Damn it.
It's okay. But yeah, no, you still look good. You're fine. But yeah, no, I do think that episodes will start getting a little better as they're slowly getting into more recent footage that aren't burdened by COVID regulations.
Mm.
Um, Obviously, depending on how we see the next episodes, is going to be a bit difficult because of the whole crackdown on fan subs. So we're just going to have to wait and see.
Yeah.
But I think that's it for today's episode. And sorry it's as long as it is, but we did cover a lot of awesome stuff. And I am so glad to have this discussion with you every week, Mark. So
I-
yeah, it's great to have you here, Alan.
I'm good with
Um,
it as well. So
but yeah,
let's continue on next week.
right. So let's wrap it up there. Airlim, where can we find you on social media?
You can find me on uh, Airlim pretty much everywhere, and on Twitter, Mainstream Live. That's where you can find
Awesome.
me.
And you can find me on at Henshin Asset on both Instagram and on Twitter as well. So thank you so much, Airlim. Thank you
No
so much,
problem.
guys. Do let us know in stuff about this episode that you like to have your opinions of the whole thing, because we're not just talking about this episode, but just everything in general. So let us know down below, and we'll all speak to you again soon in the next episode. So thank you, my dudes.
Yeah. No
See you
problem,
next
man.
time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.